Hi. Hi, my name's Dom, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about improvised comedy. So just so that I can gauge the room a little bit, can you please give me a sort of cheer or a whoop if you have heard of or seen improvised comedy before? And give me a cheer or a whoop if you've never heard of improvised comedy before. For you over there, just so that you know, improvised comedy is comedy that's made up entirely on the spot, okay? So we don't have any pre-prepared characters or jokes or lines. We think it's more exciting and it's more authentic if it's done completely, off the cuff. Now, improv in the UK is really exciting right now. It is exploding. And there are shows in the West End of London that are entirely improvised musicals. There's Whose Line Is It Anyway on TV, and actually an increasing number of slightly improvised TV shows out there. There's improvised Shakespeare, murder mysteries, so much stuff. And the thing that they all have in common is that they all take a suggestion, a word or a title, and then we will sort of jump off of that and come up with improvised sketches, songs, stories, games, or sometimes entire improvised plays. Now, I think in an age where Netflix and BBC iPlayer and all these kinds of things allow you to stream entertainment all over the world that has been edited, it's been dubbed, it's been reshot so that they got exactly the look they wanted. It's amazing that something that is, by its very nature, rough around the edges and always imperfect is exploding so much. And I think it's that charm that it is always going to be exciting and it may often not work. That's the excitement that makes improv really, really popular right now. So I'm going to go through a few of the kind of basic rules of improv and some people have said you can use these in your everyday lives. They're good rules just for life. So if you want to use them, please feel free. Feel free. The first rule we're going to go for is be spontaneous. Okay? Now notice I did not say be funny, and I did not say be clever. You, sir, what's your name? Carlo? T. Can I call you T?
Yeah, okay.
Perfect. How exciting was that? It almost went wrong because it was entirely improvised and not scripted beforehand. Now, T, usually when we ask people to be funny on the spot, it doesn't work because it's kind of a bit forced, it's a bit awkward, it doesn't really work. So T, could you be funny? It's really hard, isn't it? And you, that was a perfect answer, by the way. Like, you did it exactly as I wanted you to. Because it doesn't work, right? It's so annoying when people know that you're a comedian and you're at a party. People come up to you and are like, hey, be funny, do your jokes. It's like, oh, that's not really how it works. Instead, we say be spontaneous. That means you commit to the moment, and you just say the first thing that comes into your head, whatever that is. And so now if I was to say again, I'm going to say a word, okay, and you're going to say the first thing that comes into your head, okay? I'm going to say screen. What's the first thing that pops into your head?
Wow.
Wow. Perfect. And that's so brilliant. And also, I feel sorry for everyone else in the audience because they can't see your face. But when I asked you to do something funny, you were kind of like... And when I asked you just what do you think of when you see or hear a screen, you went, wow. And it was so much more animated, it was so much quicker, it was so much more authentic. Now, out there, a lot of comedians will get a laugh by doing observational comedy, right? That's where they'll say something like, hey, airline food, so small. Why is it so small, am I right? And you sit at home being like, yeah, it is small. Yeah, it is. Why is it so small? And you laugh partly because it's delivered well or it's set up as a nice joke, but a lot of the laugh comes from what I call the laughter of recognition. Now, that is when the product, the joke that the comedian has produced resonates with something from your own personal life. You go, hey, me and that comedian, we think in the same way. And I'm enjoying the fact that we've kind of bonded over that piece of observational comedy. Now, in improv, we don't bond over the product so much as the process. You see improvisers stood at the side of the stage, like staring at the floor, like desperately trying to work out what the next thing should be. You see people like sweating, sort of pacing, everyone's got nervous tics, and you see them as they are basically conceiving a play, writing it, rehearsing it, and performing it all in one moment. And that, to me, is fascinating. It's a fascinating insight into human nature. The other great thing about being spontaneous and in the moment is people say, how do you know when you've done all your jokes? Why don't you run out of jokes about whatever topic it is? What's a word? Any word? Drum, cool. Drum. How do you know when you've run out of your drum jokes? How do you do it? And it's well, that's not really how it works. It's more like you've said drum to me, so I'm going to imagine that I've got a little drum here, and I'm sort of drumming away. Maybe I'm in a marching band, and the best piece of advice I ever got was from an amazing improviser, Canadian improviser in Austria, and he said to me, "You're not funny." He said, "People are funny. Situations are funny. The best thing you can do is close your eyes and imagine the world around you when you get on stage." So maybe I'm playing in a marching band, and there's so many more of us. There's lines and rows of drummers, and I don't know what song we're meant to be doing. So I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. And now I can go up to other people and I can start talking to them. I can find out what is it, a parade that we're walking in? All of these ideas spring off, and I've not said any jokes. I'm not aiming for jokes. I'm not even aiming for laughs. They're a byproduct of committing to the world of the scene, which is so easy when you just imagine yourself in that actual world. Now, what I've talked to you about is basically playing make-believe, something that little kids grow out of when they're 10 years old. You probably get bullied for it if you do it at secondary school, but some of us do it professionally as adults. It's the easiest thing in the world to take the mickey out of. But instead, if you follow rule number 2, which is to support your scene partner, it goes to really exciting places. So if I come up with an idea about a drum, I will sort of build the story like this. And it could be fine, but it's so much more exciting to see my scene partner, what we call yes and me. That means everything I've said, they say, yes, that is true in this world, and here's some more detail. Here's some more, we're going to flesh it out. So all of a sudden, my scene partner is yes-anding and taking me in a slightly different direction. So I'll then yes-and them, and I'll continue in that direction. And we end up over here, and to a place where neither of us would have ever written that story on our own, but it's so much more creative and interesting than the story if I'd just sort of written it on my own. The third rule that I'm going to talk to you about is just having fun, okay? Because we've all been to see a comedy show where the comedian has stopped having fun for whatever reason. They have decided the audience are not on their side, or they've forgotten their material, or whatever it is, and then they stop enjoying it, and the audience stop enjoying it at the same time. Comedy is such a social thing that we want the improvisers to say, hey, we're comfortable, we're confident, we're happy with it, even if it's going wrong. And one of the big parts of that is embracing your mistakes and supporting each other when they make mistakes, which is why the title is, why are statements so much better than questions, right? Now, if I come out and I start doing this, and someone comes up to me and says, hey man, what are you doing? Well, now I've got to come up with all the answers. Now they're making me do all the hard work. Whereas if they come up to me and say, hey, I like your drum, I can be like, thanks, it's new, I got it for my birthday. And now we've come up with a story. If I say, whoa, that castle over there looks really scary, do you think it's haunted? And they come up and say, that's not a castle, that's an aquarium, and I hate fish. Well, now we're like, oh, what? Who do we believe? As an audience, you're confused, we're not enjoying it, you're not enjoying it. Whereas, even if someone thinks, oh, not another castle scene, I hate all these scenes about castles, Dom does. But if they yes and me and have fun with it and go with it, then they'll be like, yeah, it is haunted. And we're going to go find the ghost. Come on, let's go on an adventure. And now we've got some energy. It's much more exciting. The final story I want to tell you, I think sort of encompasses all of these rules and was the best beginning to a scene I've ever watched in my entire life. I was out in Vienna and I was working with this company that were all way older than me. They'd been doing improv for years and years and years, and there was these two performers, Dennis and Anne. Okay, and they've been married for like 20 plus years. They've got 3 grown-up kids. And I'm fronting a scene, and I say, can I please get a suggestion for your favorite teacher when you were at school? Who was your favorite teacher? And someone says, Dennis. I go, what? They say, yeah, Dennis. I said, Dennis, the man on stage behind me is your favorite teacher. They said, yeah, he was our drama teacher, he was great. And they were like quite attractive young women, and Dennis sort of went a bit red and sort of blushed behind me. And I was like, okay, cool, we'll take Dennis as the suggestion for this scene, but who's going to play Dennis in this scene? So the audience had to cheer for who they wanted, and they didn't know that Dennis and Anne were married, but they picked Anne. Dennis is this big guy with a deep voice, so Anne comes out, and she doesn't start with a question, she tells us where we are and who we are. She comes out, she says, hey girls, today we're going to learn about Shakespeare because I'm the best teacher you've ever had. And then Dennis comes out playing the girls from his own drama class. He's like, okay, yeah, you are the best teacher we've ever had. And if we ever get asked in like 10 years' time who our favorite teacher ever was, we're going to say you. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. We're seeing something so private. We're seeing into a married couple's like views of each other and their life and that complex, detailed relationship. And they are having so much fun. It's not where they expected to be doing scenes that night. It was in many ways a bit of a mistake. I didn't mean to get someone who knew us as performers, but they went with it. They yes-anded each other, and it was the most amazing thing. And to me, I felt so privileged that that show was not recorded, it is not available on YouTube or anything like that, but I was one of those few people, like 35 people, that got to see that genuine insight into their lives. And no one else outside of that room will ever get to see that. And in a day with Netflix and streaming and all that kind of stuff, I think that's amazing. So we're now going to do a little improv for you. We're going to do a couple of games. So if everyone could please put your hands together and welcome some other members of the Oxford Imps. Go for it.
Okay, guys. So for this first game, we need 2 imps on the stage, and from you guys, we're going to need a suggestion. So I just want to practice a bit getting feedback from you. Everyone have a name? Everyone have a name in this room? You got your name? And let's all shout it. 1, 2, 3. John. Wonderful. How about a color? Everyone have a favorite color? Mine's red. If you don't have one, you can use red. 1, 2, 3. Blue. Wonderful. Great. So what I need from all of you is an object. Any object you can think of, like a ball or a ladder. Marshmallow. We'll take marshmallow. In this scene, let's see. Don here is going to play every single character except for one, which will be played by Matt, with the suggestion of marshmallow. Take it away.
I don't like the cake. I don't like it, Janine. Look at it.
It's been in the oven for too long, Sally.
It's not really a cake anymore. It's just dripping down the bottom. Oh no. Get it out.
Okay, hold on. I've got a microphone for some reason, but I'll put it down here. Oh no, the smoke's coming out too much.
Oh my God.
Give me the mitts.
Oh my God. Oh my word. Wait there. The big mitts.
I'm going in. If I don't come out, you know where my party was. Oh, it's very hot, Sally. Quickly.
Janine, I can't see you.
I need the tray.
It's too smoky. I can't see you, Janine.
The fire alarm's going off.
Oh my word.
It's going off.
Ding dong. Hello.
There's someone at the door.
Let me in. Oh, where's the fire?
It's in the kitchen. Quickly, come inside. Stand back to me. Don't get hit in the face.
I don't like it.
Don't worry, madam, we've got it.
Straight in the oven. Oh no! It's straight onto my phone. My iPhone.
Mummy, what's happening?
Oh, hello, Sandra. We're just having a quick water fight in here.
Is my birthday cake ready yet, Mummy?
It's coming. It's
Okay.
coming. Definitely not that.
Why are my eyes hurting so much?
I'm not sure. Maybe your father can look after you for a minute. John!
She knows.
Yeah, what is it? Do you mind taking Sandra outside while I finish baking the cake like you promised?
Well, I was having my, second nap of the day, and I really...
Don't worry, Mr. Fireman, we'll resolve this soon. We're just sorting out a quiet...
I don't even think she's mine.
You're not supposed to tell them on their birthday.
And scene!
So we'll be doing another scene now. Can I have 2 imps on the stage, please? Thank you very much. And from you, I need a suggestion of an action. Any action at all.
Flying.
Oh, what was that?
Flying.
Flying, I like it. Okay, good. So with the suggestion flying, you'll see a scene. But in this scene, when you hear this noise, well, you'll just have to see what happens, won't you? Here we go. With flying.
Yes, I did pack my bag myself.
Great, and do you have the bag with you?
No, I gave it to another man. He seemed very responsible.
Well, that's an interesting thing to do. I'm sure you packed many things inside the bag which you need to take on you. Where are you flying to, sir?
I am flying to Geneva.
Geneva.
Yeah.
I love Geneva. Geneva's
Yeah.
great. Switzerland, right?
I hope so.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you see, given that you haven't brought your bag with you,
Yeah.
and that you handed it off to someone else, you really can just go through security.
Oh, great. And will my bag definitely be in Geneva, Switzerland, when I get there?
There's no guarantee, sir. I work for airport security. I don't handle bags. I just make sure that you. What's that in your back pocket?
Wicka.
See, I work in the airport, I do security, and I see something that doesn't look right. Then I've got to pat you down and make sure you're not bringing something dangerous on the flight because you know it's public space. You can't bring things that are liquids or mace. If you bring something that is quite sharp, you know you have to take it. You don't have to harp on all the injustices here. Take in your objects and don't interfere because it is for your own safety. You take it away for you and me. It's going to be all right, sir.
Yep. No, there's.
That toothpick
Well,
that you just pulled out.
I'll take the toothpick out, and there's the mace that I brought as well, and the harp that I brought.
That's a very small harp, sir.
What a holiday I've got planned, I really have.
You must be a musician going to Switzerland.
I am. I'm a musician specializing in very small harps.
Tell me more about the small harps that you play.
Well, I don't mean to harp on, but I have got a harp. That is a thing that I've got, and I'll tell you what it isn't. Yes, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not a tiny banjo, it's not a small guitar, it's not a trumpet, and it's not a sitar. It's not a thing called a drum. It's not sad news that will make you glum. It's not hair product that'll put you in a quiff. It's not a question like where or if. It's not a pair of trousers, it's not a TV to which you'd say wowzers. It's not a pair of glasses, it's not a bigger pair of glasses. It's not any of your things, and it's not a DVD of the children's film Sing.
Actually, sir, I don't know much as a security agent, but now I know a lot of things that harp is not. And
Yes.
it's not a liquid over 100 liters. I know that.
Millimeters.
You can't have 100 millimeter liquids either.
No, you can't. That's science.
Yes. Well, actually, can I ask you something?
Please do.
So, in the break room, back behind the X-ray detectors. Is your flight soon?
It's quite soon,
No, I
yeah.
think you've got time for this.
Okay.
So we sometimes take a break in the middle of the workday to sit back and listen to a little music. It's very stressful to have to tell people to take off their clothes and pat them down.
Is it?
Incredibly stressful.
Okay.
Now you may not understand why it is quite bad to be a security agent in this fad, because we have to take all of our hands and make sure that no one has sinister plans, and we need your help because we want to be happy. Come with us, show us that heart, man, because it can lift are spirits. And then we'll have spirits because we keep some alcohol back in the room. Just don't tell my supervisor, that'll be my doom.
You seem very chipper, but it seems that you're just demanding a stripper. You want them to remove their clothes, their little shoes, and their others, those. You want them thrown on the floor until there are clothes no more. Just bare chest, and also bare all the rest. You want to see me naked? Well, I'm sorry, but I just won't take it. I'm taking back my harp and my DVD. You won't be seeing a naked me. I'm actually not going to Geneva because I don't want to go there either. If there's more men like you when I get off at airport number 2. You know that? Thank you very much. Cool. Can you jump this way?